We're in the second video of a series I'm doing of 4 videos about listening to the voices in our lives as leaders. Coyly saying, are you hearing voices? Well, that's good. Which ones are you listening to? And I mentioned in the first session that we did together about the client's voice and when to listen to that and when to not let that control us. So you might want to listen to that one. I also talk about this painting, The Return of the Prodigal Son, a Rembrandt, again, not an original, that is a lot about voices. And in our last and our 4th session, I'll be talking about that a little more and how it integrates with these voices that leaders should listen to and pay attention to, and then how to navigate the ones we're not sure about and so on. Today, I'm talking about the staff's voice, and that's really key. Your team, you need to listen to your team, your group, get input from the people you work closely with who report to you, and whether they're top staff members or others in the management structure, their voices matter. And many top leaders are poor listeners here. We maybe give token listening sometimes to our staff or the teams that we lead, instead of truly deep listening that promotes change and makes a difference in our organization, in our group, in our church, whatever we're leading in. And we have to know to discern the difference between a complaint and a true concern when our staff speaks, between creative ideas and input and random sort of emotional ramblings and suggestions, between fear-filled hesitancy that keeps people back, versus legitimate warnings and cautions that people are bringing to us. And so I wrote a blog post about these voices as well that kind of highlights them. I'm unpacking them more here on the video. And I think it's important that we have that kind of discernment as people who lead staffs and teams who need to both listen to the voice and then know discerningly when to take what's been shared with us and when not to, when to include it in what we're doing and when not to. If we don't do this well, the result is bad decisions, bad performance by us, by our people. We'll alienate staff if we don't listen truthfully. So we need to give a place, though, for them to have some process and some dialogue with us as leaders. In top-down, communicate and delegate structures, where we just talk and deliver, and delegate to people. And those structures don't have a lot of dialogue, don't have a lot of back and forth with them. And they view resistance to an idea or a direction as rebellion, or they see caution as confrontation, like, hey, what's wrong with my idea? What's wrong with you? Why won't you listen to this? Don't misinterpret that. Be discerning. Listen truthfully to the voice, not in a token way. The voice of the staff, that voice matters. Ask follow-up questions. Dig in a little bit. Hey, you said this. Tell me more about that. What did you mean by that? Do you have some data? Okay, I see that you have some fear about us taking this next step. What's that rooted in? Help me understand. Because maybe it's right. Maybe the one person in the room who's speaking truth. You never know. Use what's heard would be another tip I would give you. If you take a survey or if you do some one-on-ones and get some feedback, come back around and say, hey, I've been talking, or hey, we did a survey. Here's the feedback, and here's what we can learn from it and we want to use. You won't use all of it. They know that. But if you don't ever come back around, they feel neglected. And why did we even fill the thing out in the first place? Also, listen in one-on-one settings as well as large group settings. Use the tools we have with technology, but try to do some personal work wherever possible to just get the heart of it. The one-on-one, the small, tiny group gives you a little more of the heart. The large group will give you themes and ideas, but definitely do that at that one-on-one level. And remember to be motivating, not manipulating. It's so tempting as a leader to want to be engaging with our staff in a way that gets them to buy into our idea. And there's a time for selling an idea and getting people on board, but there's a time to really listen and maybe make some changes in that idea. So listen well. Don't fear leading them, but make sure you're listening to them. And I think you'll have a better interaction with your staff and be a better leader of your staff.